Alright, we are live on YouTube, going live on Rumble. Get the music started. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened today throughout the annals of recorded history. Join us as we delve into yesteryear, not only for interesting and important happenings, but to possibly even answer questions you don't know you have. The sources of this information come from this website, onthisday.com, and the smart device application's historical calendar and Today in History. For links to these sources and anything else potentially interesting, please check the underbar of the description below. And as usual, all links gathered throughout the show will appear post-live stream. Anyway, I am Aoxander, and in the live studio audience, we have Noah! The lamb chop of lamb chops. And of course, you viewer are you. Today is, what is today? Tears Day, Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. And I know it's January 2nd, but you know what? I'm just going to still wish you a Happy New Year. I'm wearing my hat. We took yesterday off, just because, like, New Year, new start, yada yada, just relax. And what better way to start the year than with some good old-fashioned chillaxing and phylaxing, Anyway, yeah, we're going to jump into the history right off the bat here. In the year 69, nice year, Roman Lower Rhine army proclaimed its commander Vitellius emperor. And that is really interesting. Can you imagine, like, some army or something suddenly deciding, oh, no, the president is now this guy, That's essentially the same thing. And that's a pretty bold, like, proclamation right there. That's potentially, well, that's not even potentially, that straight up is, what's the word I'm looking for, Noah, when you do things against the government? Like,
anarchism?
No, that's lack of government.
Rebellion?
Like, treason. That's kind of treasonous.
Yeah, that's the one. I thought you were going to say, like, rebellion or something like that.
Well, kind of same thing, Like,
yeah.
Like, the rebels were considered treasons towards the English crown, so,
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to jump up to 366. The Alemanni crossed the frozen Rhine River in large numbers, invading the Roman Empire. So, yeah. Not the same people, because a long time had passed since the, 69 to 366, but still, invading the Roman Empire, that's a pretty big move right there. Then we have 533, John II began his reign as Catholic Pope. Now, I got from another source a little bit more information. His name was Mercurius, in which he became Pope John II, and this was the first pope to adopt a new name upon elevation to the papacy. So he started this whole trend of, having a different name, like, John Paul II, the third, all the other popes, like Alexander, Benedictus, Francis, I think, is the pope today. So, yeah. Anyway, from something not on our main source here, 1235, Emperor Joseph II ordered Jews of Galicia, Austria, to adopt family names. So that's interesting. So what is family names? Like the last name, so maybe that's where, like, all of this, like, Goldstein and Rosenblatt and, all this, various, Jewish surnames and whatnot came from, probably from here. Or partially from here. I'm not entirely sure. If anybody knows a little bit more about that, please let us know in the comment section. Yeah. We're going to move on up to 1492. Muhammad XII, the last emir of Granada, surrendered his city to Ferdinand II of Aragon and Isabel I of Castile, ending both their Reconquista and centuries of Muslim rule in the Iberian Peninsula. Huh. Yeah. What else do we got here? 1570, Tsar Ivan the Terrible's march to Novgorod began. It would end up in a massacre right here, massacre of Novgorod. And Russian Tsar Ivan the Terrible. Oh, it's a horrible, horrible guy. People earn their names. 1585, Spain and Catholic France signed the Saint League of Joinville Constitution of the United States. Wait, what? Wait. Whoa. Hold on a second. Let me look this up here really quick. And by the way, we're no longer going to be using Google for our search engine. We are using Ecosia. I strongly recommend using Ecosia because it's not Google. And on top of that, they also plant trees or something like, you know what? I'll accept cookies from you for once.
Yeah, there's a couple websites you can search with that do things for nature when you search.
Yeah.
Raise money that way.
Like, I couldn't give a tiddler's damn about, how many trees they planted. They're not Google. You got me sold. That's how simple I am. Fuck Google. So, YouTube asshole, as the COC says. But let's see here. Jean de Joinville. Okay. What is this? This is about Jean de Joinville, but what about the Saint League of Joinville Constitution of the United States? Hold on a second. If there's anything more involving this, I'm just gonna add this into the underbar section. So yeah, Jean de Joinville. So I'm not sure if this will lead to anywhere, but if anyone knows, once again, more about this, please let us know in the comments section. We got to move on up here, though. 1602, Spanish force in Ireland surrendered to the English army in Kinsdale. What the hell were the Spanish doing up there? It's a little strange. So, I mean, I guess they were trying to invade the British. All those, the Brits, the Franks, and the Spaniards, were at each other's throats for quite some time. They were always competing, for the seas and whatnot. So, anyway, 1757, British troops occupied Calcutta, India. Ooh, there we go. The start of their colonization of the Indian subcontinent and all that stuff. 1776, Austria ended the use of interrogation by torture. Well, that's pretty good. Like, if you're torturing somebody, you're not going to really get the truth out of them. They're going to tell you whatever the hell that you want to hear to stop the torture. It is not effective at all. But also, while that was happening, George Washington's army hoisted the Grand Union flag at Prospect Hill in Charlestown. Woo-hoo! Hell yeah, man. 1788, Emperor Joseph II ordered Jews of Galicia, Austria to adopt family names. I know I already read that, but it was in here earlier, and I'm not entirely sure when it happened. So, like, right here it says 1788. So we have a major discrepancy in history right now. Two of the same articles, different times. So let me just look this up here really quick. What year was it? Well, history of the Jews in Austria. So this is just that. So, I don't know. Once again, if anybody knows more, get involved with the history. I'm just reporting on it. So, yeah. Moving on up to 1788 as well, Georgia was the fourth state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. All right, go Georgia. Hell yeah. We also have in 1791, Big Bottom Massacre in the Ohio Country, North America, marking the beginning of the Northwest Indian War. Yikes. So, that is not a big bottom, thickness with 2 C's that you want massacring your face. I can't believe I just said that. 1800, free black community of Philadelphia petitions U.S. Congress to abolish the slave trade. I agree. Slavery is awful. But today, with modern conveniences and all that stuff, we can look back and be like, oh, we don't need slavery. But back in that day, it was just part of life. It's easy to look back on history, and snub your nose at it, but put your feet in the shoes of people hundreds of years ago. So, yeah. And I see we have Jacob Peets in the house. Peets! How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Let's see here. 1811, U.S. Senator Thomas Pickering was the first senator who was censored, revealed confidential documents communicated by the President of the U.S. That doesn't sound good. It sounds kind of like a whistleblower type of thing. So, I'm not entirely sure. 1814, Lord Byron completed the Corsair, a long tale in verse. I have no idea what a long tale in verse is. It's something to do with musical or whatever. He was a romantic poet, Lord Byron here. So, and I'm not entirely sure why that's even in the script, to be honest. That's a remnant from last year. Anyway, 1818, the British Institution of Civil Engineers, which was founded by a group of 6 engineers. Thomas Telford would later become its first president. All right. So anybody, the British Institution, is this still a thing? Or is it defunct? Let's look it up here really quick. British Institution of Civil Engineers. It is still around with over 92,000 members. Yeah, the ICE. So that reminds me, back in the day, when cell phones were first coming out and everything, you used to people used to add a contact in called ICE, which stood for in case of emergency. So that way, if you get hit by a car or if you're involved in some kind of accident and you are unable to do things yourself, a emergency service responder can get your phone, find ICE, and call the number. What it be at your work, your family, your parents, your spouse, your child, whatever you set for your ICE contact. And I think people should still kind of do that, to be honest. because not everybody has a mom, dad, and whatnot in their phone, especially adults. They might have their parents as their first name, or if they're orphans, if they grew up without parents, like they don't have any ice, really to that just extent. So anyway, we're going to move on up to 1832. We have the first curling club in the U.S. It was Orchard Lake Curling Club opened. All right, and we looked that up here. The first curling club in the U.S. Alice was talking about it might have been from Minnesota, but this was Michigan. So yeah. All right. So yeah, 1832. Cool. 1833, the re-establishment of British rule on the Falklands. Oh, that's not too nice. But in 1839, we have the first photo of the moon taken by French photographer Louis Daguerre. The Daguerre photograph. That's right. We know about the Daguerre type. That's a type of photo. Here we go. January 2nd, 1839. Image. Why am I using Google? Hold on a second. Let me do this. That is images. Here we go. So the first photo of the moon right here. This is the absolute first photograph of the moon that you're looking at. Remarkable. On this date, how many years ago? Let's do some quick math. It is 2024 minus 1832. 192-year-old photograph right there, people. Am I the only one who's just in awe of this? This is awesome. 192 years ago on this date, the first photograph of the moon. Wow. We've come a long way. In 1842, we have the first U.S. wire suspension bridge open for general traffic in Pennsylvania. All right. That's cool. 1843, Richard Wagner's opera The Flying Dutchman premiered in Dresden, Germany, and as legend tells, the Flying Dutchman likes to put a sock on his ghostly tail. Oh wait, that's just SpongeBob. 1861, Colonel Charles Stone was put in charge of organizing the D.C. militia. All right. Washington, D.C., Washington, all that stuff. While that was happening, South Carolina seized inactive Fort Johnson in Charleston Harbor. Yeah, and this is leading up to, the Civil War has already started, 1860, 1861, so yeah, we were at war with the South. So this is when South Carolina seized the inactive fort. Yep, all right. 1865, welterweight, I'm not in 1870s yet, 1865, where is it? Here we go. Welterweight Con Oram and heavyweight Hugh O'Neill brawled for 185 rounds before darkness ended the legendary bare-knuckle boxing match in Virginia City, Montana. Holy shit. That's crazy. 185 rounds bare-knuckle boxing? Wow. That is inhuman. That is inhuman. I can't even fathom that. That's almost on the line of my ability to contemplate infinity. Because, think about it. They're bare knuckle boxing. Even not bare knuckle boxing. They're an exorbitant amount of energy. Exerted. Yeah, and they went for 185 rounds before, nature itself had to be okay, enough. That is incredible. Moving on up to 1871, King Amadeus I of Spain was inaugurated at the age of 25. Amadeus. Oh, Amadeus. So, yeah. 1879, Australian fast bowler Fred Spofworth dismissed 3 English batsmen with consecutive deliveries during the 3rd test at the Melbourne Cricket Ground for Test cricket's first hat-trick. Woo! Hat-trick! And I just knocked over some things. Whoopsie doodles. Where'd it go? Where'd you go? Okay, well, my little statuette is now MIA. Oh, there you are. Okay. Alright. I am not ever going to do that again. So, this is the origin of the hat trick. People know, in hockey and various other sports, but it started, as we've covered, in this show before, it started as a cricket thing, and in which after you scored 3 goals or whatever it is, you got a new hat. So you did a trick, you get a hat, the hat trick. So yeah, there we go. We're going to be talking about that here again, I believe, not too long from now. 1879, the British battleship HMS Thunderer gun turret exploded during gunnery practice in Gulf of Izmit near Turkey. 11 sailors were killed and 35 additional were injured. And if you look at my initial thing here, you know, I'm going to add this into the script really quick. So, because this is you know, it's a minor discrepancy, but it's still a discrepancy. You know, this initially says 9 died. Now this says 11 people were killed. 11 sailors were killed, in which that would make the 9 die correct. But are they now, you know, embellishing history? You know, are they changing things, or did they find something new? That's the question. You know, it's always the question with historians. You know, is this new stuff true, or is somebody just trying to put something else in and, you know, make a lie become history? No, we got to be very careful with history. You know, it is all we have to record what has happened. And as soon as we start messing with that, then our lives are a lie, essentially. Anyway, moving on up to 1882, because of anti-monopoly laws, Standard Oil was organized as a trust, and we need to bring that back hardcore. You know, all these big corporations, too big to fail my ass. You know, we got to stop with this, because now it just lets them do whatever the hell they want with impunity, because they're not under threat of going under. So, yeah. 1885, General Walesi received last distress signal of General Gordon in Khartoum. Huh. I wonder what was going on over there. 1890, Alice Stanger became the first female White House staffer. That's pretty cool. 1890 as well, a record 19.2 foot long alligator was shot in Louisiana by U.S. businessman Edward Avery McKillany. A 19.2 foot alligator. That is, like, I'm wondering if they're talking about length or if it was a horrible mutation. Because if I ever saw an alligator with more than 4 feet, I would shoot it too. You know, or, well, even with 1 foot, I would shoot it if it was coming at me. You know, I don't want to mess with that. Yeah, go into a death spiral and all that whatnot. 1893, the first U.S. commemoratives and first U.S. stamp to picture a woman was issued, Queen Isabella, patron of Columbus. All right, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. 1893, Queen Isabella stamp. Let me get out of this. Here we go. What year was it? 1893 stamp. There we go. Okay, so it was this stamp, I believe. If this is, well, this is 1892. Okay. Columbus listening, Isabella. Okay, Isabella is involved in that. So, okay. So yeah, the stamp has a picture of a woman. It's not only a picture of a woman, but it depicts a picture of a woman, you know, with all these other guys and such. So this is or maybe this is the first stamp. Because this, you know, really does, you know, you can see her a lot clearer with this. So, I don't know. I'm not a stamp collector or whatever it is that it's called. 1900, and this is from a different source here. The Chicago Canal opens. All right. And while that was happening, U.S. statesman and diplomat John Hay announced the open door policy to promote trade with China. John Hay announced the open door policy to promote trade with China. Yeah, not a good idea. Well, I mean, like, I don't know. This was well before the CCP and all that whatnot, so, yeah. Anyway, 1903, U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt shut down the post office in Indiana, Mississippi for refusing to accept its appointed postmistress because she was black. Good on you, Teddy. You know, there's people out there who say, you know, like, who have different opinions on, you know, Theodore Roosevelt, you know, because of his policies and whatnot. But, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. Like, you know, this was a prudent move in my opinion. This is a good move here. You know, like shutting down because they refused to accept her because of the color of her skin. What the hell is wrong with them? You know, let the girl work. 1905, U.S. anarcho-syndicalist union known as the Industrial Workers of the World formed. Okay, I don't like the word anarcho, so I don't really know what to think of that. But while that was going on, Japanese troops captured Port Arthur from Russia, a blow to national morale and causing further discontent within Russia. Yeah, you know, Japan, you know, and Russia have been at each other for a while, you know, leading up to the Second World War and all that stuff. And we also have Elara, a satellite of Jupiter, discovered by Charles Dillon Pearson in San Jose, California. All right. So, you know, one of Jupiter's moons discovered. Pretty cool, pretty cool. 1908, the Canadian branch of the Royal Mint opened in Ottawa. Huh? 909, the first official Dutch 11 city skates, Mini Hoiskara, in 1350. Whatever the hell is this? Let's just do a surface level scratch of this article here. See if anything comes up. So, okay, the Elfstendon. It's a long-distance tour skating event on natural ice, almost 200 kilometers long, which is held both as a speed skating competition and as a leisure tour. The Elfstendon is the biggest ice skating tour in the world. Huh. Okay. Well, if anybody wants to read more about this Elfstendon, whatever it's called, I will send you here. This is their official website right there. So yeah, to get you started on further personal education on this particular subject matter. We're going to move on up 365 more days into 1910. We have the first junior high schools in the U.S. opened in Berkeley, California. Hey, look at that. I know where Berkeley's at. I'm not that far away from there. Well, I mean, like, hour and a half, depending on traffic. Do I have any comments on Rumble? I do not yet. All right. 1912, the Brooklyn Superbase Baseball Club President Charles Ebbets announced purchase of 4.5 acres of land to build a new concrete and steel stadium to seat 23,000 people. Ebbets Field then later opens in 1913. I wonder if Ebbets Field is even still around. Let's take a look at this. Ebbets Field. Let's see. All right. Well, this looks like a fairly recent picture. So, man, that looks small. Man, that looks small. Wow. Compared to today's stadiums and everything. But I mean, that was state of the art. Ebbets Field, is it still around? Let me check out maps here. So Ebbets Field. No, I want maps. Okay, I guess I'll use Google. There's only so much they can do. Okay, well, it looks to be still around. No. Well, this is Chino. This is still California. This is not Ebbets Field. Let me find Ebbets Field. Former site of Ebbets Field. Okay, here we go. So let's see here. No, zoom in, damn it. Let's see here. Former site of Ebbets Field. We gotta do this old-fashioned. Aww. Man, no, it's gone. That's a shame. Well. Oh well. Yeah, anyway. 1913, Australia released its first national stamp, a kangaroo on a map of Australia. Hi, is that, oh damn, what was, Aussie Overlord depicted on, their first stamp? So let's see here. 1913, first Australia stamp. Let's see here. Hey, there's our Overlord right there. Oh, 2 pounds. That's a heavy thing of postage right there. So, yeah. What else do we have here? 1913, the National Women's Party formed. And it is not in this this thing. That's why we have this little exclamation point right here before the year to tell me that this is off the main source. We also have in 1913, Mahatma Gandhi left the Tulsi farm in Transvaal, South Africa. Okay. 1914, Philips installed research department in Eindhoven. And we actually looked this up yesterday because Alice was very confused about this. But this is the Philips Electronics Company, if anybody remembers that. So this was, they were creating a research department in Eindhoven, somewhere in Europe, to research electronics components and whatnot. One would presume, from that company. So, 1917, the Royal Bank of Canada took over Quebec Bank. Ah, okay.
Did you just say Canada?
I did. What are you going to do about it?
Nothing,
Exactly, What's all that about,
We're gonna have some Canadian bacon with a maple leaf on top. That was racist.
You mean ham?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, those maple-loving moose people with their hockey sticks and all that stuff. But I don't really have a platform to make fun of them because my country has been at war with them only once, and while that happened, they kicked our asses. But then again, they had Britain on their side.
They burned down the White House when we were like a new country.
Yeah, pretty much. But the Canadians did come down here and burn our capital down, So.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they did. Canadians are
was like
crazy though. Like I saw a video about how Canadians when they entered World War II, like they are, you know, like they may be overly apologetic, but that's because they're compensating for their brutal, ruthless nature. You know, the monster that hides behind that you don't see. You know, don't mess with Canada. Like they'll kill you.
Honestly, that was the War of 1812 that you're talking about.
I know. And then I was talking about World War II.
Yeah. Okay.
Canada has been involved in many wars. So
Squish.
yeah, squash.
Yes,
1920, responding to global fear of communism caused by the Russian Revolution, U.S. Attorney General Paul Moore authorized raids across the country on Unionists and Socialists. I do not agree with that. I appreciate the thought, especially since it's against communists, but we can't be doing that because that only validates their arguments against us. We have to teach people, that we're peaceful but not harmless. There's a big distinction, and we also need to teach people, like, that there's more ways to solve differences than violence, hate, animosity, and divisiveness. Only by working together can you build something, like, hate has nothing good has ever come out of hate or anything of that nature. So, yeah. 1921, the first religious service radio broadcast in the U.S., KDKA, Pittsburgh. All right. Oh, yeah. 1923, the Klan surprise attack on black residential area in Rosewood, Florida, killing 8. Compensation was awarded later in 1995. So, all that stuff. And, we tried, this time last year, I was really trying to get Oka, One Century Go off the ground, and I'm still trying to find a video editing program that can edit in that aspect ratio so I can start doing YouTube shorts and all that whatnot, because I have several show ideas for that medium. I just don't have the editing program to do it, and I don't know how to, I need help. So, yeah. Anyway, 1926, Melody Maker, British popular music magazine, published their first issue. All right. 1929, U.S. and Canada agreed to preserve Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls! Slowly I turn, step by step, inch by inch. I took a right and a left and a hit it behind me. Blah, blah, blah. If anybody doesn't know that, I believe that was an Abbott and Costello thing, or another duo of comedians and whatnot. You know what? Let me look this up here. Niagara Falls, slowly I turn. The Three Stooges. Well, they did. No, here's an Abbott and Costello. The Three Stooges did a bit too. It's a famous bit. Like,
Thank you, sir.
Let's see.
Thank you. Those are the first good education. 14 years of grade school, preparatory school, college.
Trying to find when they fight. Here we go. Hold on. What is this?
The man was made of me a miserable wanderer over half the face of the earth. And I welled up within me and with murder in my heart. On my cheek,
Yeah. Anyway, that's the bit. We gotta move on up here. 1932, young gang shot dead 6 police in Springfield, Missouri. So that's not good. 1933, U.S. troops left Nicaragua. What were we doing over there? Why was the U.S. in Nicaragua in 1933?
That's a good question.
Yeah, hold on a second.
Well, I can read one if you want.
Why was the U.S. in Nicaragua in 1933? Let's see here. Oh, occupation of Nicaragua. Okay. The Banana Wars. Huh. So from 1912 to 1933. That is interesting. Oh.
I'll be right back.
All right. Read more. Let's see here. United States occupation of Nicaragua. All right. Yeah, I remember the Banana Wars. Result: U.S. military victory. Of course. So, and I believe this was the same event. U.S. Occupation of Nicaragua, if I spelled that correctly. One of the companies that we know today, like, I'm not sure if it's Chiquita or if it's any of the other banana companies, but they were one of the companies, and it's basically like slave labor revolted for basic human rights and dignity, and a lot of them got killed. And one of these companies just changed their label, changed their name and everything, much like how Google, changed things to Alphabet, much like how Facebook has changed things to Meta. They're just changing their name, changing their identity, knowing, unfortunately, that the human masses would be ignorant to the truth, and they just think, oh, new identity, new start. No, it's the same people, So there's one of these companies out there, one of these fruit companies that sells bananas that has literal blood on their hands, and people still financially support them. It's absolutely disgusting. Anyway, 1934, we have the first state liquor store opened in Pennsylvania. All right. Well, fitting it'd be in Pennsylvania. The city of brotherly love. Pennsylvania's a state. So, Boston, Pennsylvania is a city of brotherly love. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, the first state liquor store in Pennsylvania. There we go. 1935, Bruno Hauptmann trial began for the kidnap/murder of Charles Lindbergh's baby. And I have a thing or two to say about this Nazi sympathizer. Charles Lindbergh, yes, the aviator, the American hero, was a Nazi sympathizer. He hated Jews. That's a fact. Look it up. He entertained with Adolf Hitler. That's a fact. There's a whole theory behind the Charles accidentally killing his child, and then just using his celebrity fame and notoriety and connections to just point the finger at somebody else. So, Bruno Hauptmann, very high chance that he was just an innocent bystander who just, got blamed. 1936, first electron tube to enable night vision described, St. Louis, Missouri. Wow. Night vision, 1936. How different World War II would have been. Yeah. 1938, book publisher Simon & Schuster was founded. All right. 1941, during the Second World War, German bombing severely damaged the Llandaff Cathedral in Cardiff, Wales. That's not good. The Llandaff Cathedral in Cardiff, Wales. Let's look this up here. I want an image. I want to see what this looks like. Okay, so this cathedral with cathedral-like properties and architecture and whatnot. Is it? I believe the two towers were originally alike. One of these towers was rebuilt. You can see the difference in the building. Like, you can see how the right tower has the same type of bricks rather than the left. So it looks like that one tower got destroyed. So let me see what it looked like in 1941. So it's 1941. All right. So yeah, the inside is destroyed. The roof is horrible. But I'm not seeing any external damage. What would have was one of the towers are both towers original? Question mark. I could swear that maybe it's the shading, it's shadow, but I mean you can still see some because this tower on the left is mostly all gray, while this guy is has aspects of oranges and browns and whatnots in it. So anyway, 1942, actually no, 1941 as well. During the Second World War, the U.S. government announced its Liberty Ship program to build freighters in support of the war effort, and that really helped us out. We pumped out ships faster than they can sink them. So, yeah. 1942, German troops in Barita surrendered. All right. And while that was going on, Japanese troops occupied Manila in the Philippines. And we also have, 1942, during World War II, the 28 nations at war with the Axis powers pledged to make no separate peace deals. Yes, we all got to work together. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. As I said, we can only go forward with construction, with progress, with working together. By looking for what we can have in common with each other rather than what our differences are. That is a way we can move forward in the world, in life, in society, on an individual and a communal basis, on every level. We have to work together. We are all humans on this earth. It's long been time to start behaving as such. So, Anyway, we have here in 1942, from a different source, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, obtained the conviction of 33 members of a German spy ring headed by Fritz Jobart Dutchman in the largest espionage case in history, the Dutchman spy ring. That kind of almost rhymes here, but let's look this up here. The Dutchman spy ring. Yeah. It is the largest espionage case in the United States history that ended in convictions. A total of 33 members of Nazi-German espionage network headed by Frederick Fritz Joubert Dutchman were convicted after a lengthy investigation by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. For further reading, please refer to the underbar, the description for the Dutchman, if I mean, D-U-Q-U-E-S-N-E spy ring. So yeah. Alright. What else do we have in the history today? We have another off script here. 1942 as well, World War II, Manila was captured by Japanese forces, enabling them to control the Philippines. Okay, well this kind of coincides with what I already have earlier here. Japanese troops occupied Manila, so let me just add that in right there. Moving on up to 1943, the University of Kentucky Wildcats men's basketball team began 129 home game winning streak that only ended in 1955. Incorporated the NCAA titles in 1948, 1949, and 1951. Wow. Good on you guys. 129, home game winning streak. So it's non-consecutive with games, but at least every time they were at home, they were winning. And, that's what you should be doing at home anyway. You should be winning reality, Go check him out. Yeah, that's a YouTuber, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, Winning Reality. He does some good stuff and whatnot. Part of the COC, as I like to call them, the community of collaborators. Anyway, where were we? Okay, we did that, okay. 1944, we have the first use of helicopters during warfare, the British Atlantic Patrol. So basically, they're a Coast Guard. They're, patrolling the Atlantic in helicopters. So, yeah. 1945, Allied air raid on Nuremberg. And in 1947, Mahatma Gandhi began March for Peace in East Bengal. Yep. 2 years later, 1949, Luis Munoz Marin was inaugurated as the first democratically elected governor of Puerto Rico. Hell yeah, let's give a cheer for this man. Go Puerto Rico. 1949, KDKA TV Channel 2 Pittsburgh, PA, CBS began broadcasting. I don't know why we have that in there, to be honest. I'm going to just go ahead and take that out because there's so many of those began broadcasting things. It's not really that important enough to be disclosed on the show. But if anybody actually does want to know, please go to the underbar description. The links are there, for these sources. Go have a look on your own behalf. There's so many stuff that, we don't really cover on the show, that I don't know what you guys, enjoy or don't enjoy on an individual basis. Go look it up yourself. Indulge yourselves, 1951, Philip Berry's Second Threshold premiered on in New York City. I don't know what that is. Yeah. 1953, the NBA Baltimore Bullets began a record 32-game road losing streak, 12 games in 1952 through 53, and 20 more games in 53 through 54, with a 73-66 defeat at the Indianapolis Olympians. All right, well that sucks. So we had these guys up here, starting their streak and of good things, and these guys now starting their streak of bad. Then we have a off source here, 1954. India established its highest civilian awards, the Bharat Ratna and the Padma Vibhushan. I know I didn't say that right, but you know what? I'm not Indian, so yeah. 1955, first Bob Cummings show premiered in NBC, later to be on CBS. All right. And while that was going on, Panamanian President Jose Antonio Ramon was assassinated. Yikes. That's not good. We also have, following the assassination of Panamanian President Jose Antonio Ramon Cantera, his deputy Jose Ramon Guizado took power but was quickly deposed after his involvement in Cananana's death was discovered. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. So, that's just an extension of that, and that's from another source right there. 1956, Peugeotists/communists won the French parliamentary elections. That is kind of scary right there. 1957, in the first of 4 meetings between the fighters, Gene Fullmer won the world middleweight boxing title with a 15-round unanimous decision over Sugar Ray Robinson at New York's Madison Square Garden. Once again, 15 rounds times 3, that's 45. Now, that's not consecutive, but just imagine, you know, just for 30 seconds, not even 3 minutes, not even 1 round. Can you imagine, you know, punching, ducking, weaving, moving, dodging, you know, just constantly, you know, do that for 3 minutes, take a little break, do that for 3 minutes, take a little break, do that for 3 minutes, take a little break, do that 15 times, 15 rounds. You will not last. You know, like, people do not fully appreciate just how much, you know, is put into, you know, these sports. You know, boxing especially is incredibly taxing. So, because, like, you know, with any other sport, basketball, baseball, football, you know, all that stuff, yeah, you know, you have to exert energy too, but you're not there constantly on the defensive and offensive. A lot of times you're just standing around. You're just waiting, you know, for the play. You're just doing this. You're just doing that, you know? Like, boxing is an incredible sport, to be honest. Moving on up to 1959, the USSR launched the Luna 1 spacecraft, Macheta, the first to leave Earth's gravity, reach the vicinity of the moon, and be placed in heliocentric orbit. So what is heliocentric orbit, you may ask? Well, let me look that up really quick. Heliocentric orbit. It is an orbit around the barycenter of the solar system, which is usually located within or very near the surface of the sun. All planets, comets, and asteroids in the solar system and the sun itself are in such orbits, as are many artificial probes and pieces of debris. So that's what a heliocentric orbit is. For further information on this, you know, what the hell? Let me add it in the end of our section. So, heliocentric orbits. So yeah, the first, you know, before Sputnik, I believe. Oh, actually, this was, when was Sputnik? 55. So this was after Sputnik. Never mind. 1960, we have the first red-shank Old World shorebird reported in North America, Halifax. What does that mean? Like, red-shank Old World shorebird. Let me look this up here. Is it an actual, like, creature? Let's see. Oh, it is. Okay, so one of those. All right. Halifax, I believe, is in New Jersey. Not sure though. 1960 as well. John Reynolds set age of solar system at 4,950,000,000 years, which, as we know, is like maybe not old enough. We've recently made some discoveries with the recent James Webb Telescope that suggests that the universe may be older than our previously thought. Well, this is just talking about the solar system. Never mind, not even universe. So where was I going with that? 1960 as well, Roger Sessions' Fourth Symphony in honor of the Minnesota Centennial premiered by the Minnesota Orchestra, conducted by Antal Dorati. All right. We also have Senator John F. Kennedy announces candidacy for the U.S. president. Oh, man. Oh, and just short of 3 years later, you know, Dallas, Texas. Yeah. Wait, was it 63? I thought it was 63. It is 63. Okay. 1961, Hawaii, then an all-time low temperature of 14 degrees Fahrenheit, recorded atop Halanacal. So it was some mountain, or dormant volcano or something. So, and that has since been broken. If anybody knows that, let us know in the comment section. 1961, a failed, actually not that, 1963, from a different source here, during the Vietnam War, the Viet Cong won its first major victory at the Battle of Ap Bac. Huh. I wonder why that's not in this main source. That's odd. Which, by the way, we discovered, like, you know, Alice and I, and I think MTM was there last night too. No, Sohan was there. That's right. Alice and I and Sohan. We were going over researching and writing, and because, like, we had been doing this show for several years now, we already had the script saved up from last year, so we're just, you know, tweaking it and everything and adding in a little bit more, and, you know, it's an ever-going endeavor. And we have discovered that Firefox displays more articles than Google Chrome and the Brave browser. So we already knew that the internet on your phone is different than the internet on your computer. If you go to the same exact video on your phone that you watch on your computer, you're going to have a different like to dislike ratio. You're going to have different comments. You're going to have different this, different that. You know, and it's so wild that things are split like that right there off the shoot. But to go even deeper, it's different based off of browsers. You know, like as I said, Google Chrome and Edge, not Edge, not Opera. There's too many browsers now. Brave, Chrome and Brave do not display as many articles as Firefox here. Sohan was there looking on Microsoft's Edge, aka Internet Explorer. Yeah, but we didn't really get much information out of him. He didn't tell us whether or not he was seeing articles or not seeing articles. So, you know, Sohan's a very quiet guy. Unfortunately, at times, like he doesn't speak his mind. He just kind of, yeah. But yeah. Anyway, like so, depending on your browser, you're gonna come up with different things right on your computer, right out of the bat. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to move on up to 1964. Failed assassination attempt of President Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. Yikes. 1965, Martin Luther King Jr. began a drive to register black voters. Hell yeah. Everybody vote. You know, men, women, you know, black, white, yellow, red, purple, turquoise, asparagus, arugula. I don't care what or who you are. We are all on this earth. You know? So... 1965 as well, the New York Jets signed future Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath to a $427,000 contract over 3 years. This was pro football record at the time. Which, you know, what would have that been? $427,000 back in 1965 versus today. Let's see here. 1965. Let's see here. It would be, okay, well, it's not telling me. It's not $427,000. What is it worth? Okay, let's just check this out here. $4,023,248.22 in today's world, which is still, they won't even look at that. You know, wow. 1965, a verse design of all Canadian coins is changed to depict present day. Okay, whatever that means. If anybody is a Canadian out there, yeah. 1966, first Jewish child born in Spain since the 1492 expulsion. Wow. So let's do a little bit of math here. So let's see here. 2000. No. Hold on a second. It's not that kind of math. Hold on. 1966 minus 1492. So 474 years before a Jew was born in Spain. Wow. Absolutely wow. That's awful. So, we also have some more NFL here. 1966 National Football League Championship in Lambeau Field, Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers, you know, Alice's team, defeated the Cleveland Browns 23-12. The first NFL title game televised in color, and the last one played before the Super Bowl era. Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So the last National Football League Championship before Super Bowl came out. Huh. 1966 or 1967, Ronald Reagan, past movie actor and future president of the United States, was sworn in as governor of California. Hey, why is that not in here? Hold on a second. That's 67. That's not in here. So I forgot to add in the exclamation point right there. So yeah. All right. So yeah, Ronald Reagan, the actor. In 1968, Christian Bernard performed second heart transplant on Philip Blainberg. Okay. He was a cardiac surgeon, so this is when they were, like, you know, starting to do open heart surgery and all that whatnot. We also have in 1969, Australian Rupert Murdoch gained control of the news of the world, and that is very dangerous. Rupert Murdoch is a news mogul. He owns Fox News, and he owns Sky News Australia, and he owns all these other things. He's a raging leftist, and he owns right-wing news media organizations, you know. And these people believe that they're not being bullshitted to. You know your source. Be your own source. Don't rely on others to tell you what to think. You know. 1969 as well, Luis Ferreira became the first state holder governor of Puerto Rico. All right, that's pretty cool. And while that was going on, once influential daily sports newspaper Soviet Sport declared Czech superstar distance runner Emil Zaborek a public enemy after he supported Democratic wing of the Communist Party at start of the Prague Spring. Well, of course they did. You know, like, look at all the stuff that's going on today. They took a right out of the playbook, of the yesteryear, stuff like this. Anyone who's against me is my enemy. Like, once again, if all we're focusing on our differences, how are we ever gonna, move forward? Like, stop with the animosity, with the divisiveness, with the hate, with the this, with the that. It's easy to destruct. It's difficult to construct. And when the tough get going, the going get tough. So you guys out there, be tough. Do what you know in your heart is what's right. Stop the hate. Start working together. So, 1969, Operation Barrier Reef began in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam, and that's pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty cool right there. And 1 year after that, the U.S. population was 293,200,000 people. The black population was 22,600,000, which is 11.1%. So yeah. 1971. Spectator crush at Ibrox Park in Glasgow, Scotland, as Rangers supporters left the ground with the home team 0-1 behind to old firm rivals Celtics. 66 people died and an additional 200 plus were injured, and Rangers did ultimately score late for a 1-1. So that's not good. A bunch of people were leaving in disgust and ended up killing a bunch of people. So, not good. 1972 AFC Championship Miami Orange Bowl. Miami Dolphins defeated the Baltimore Colts 21-0. Yikes. So, yeah. 1972 as well, Mariner 9 began mapping Mars. That's pretty cool. And while that was happening, Australian Open women's tennis, Virginia Wade of England won her first Grand Slam title, defeated home favorite Yvonne Goolagong 6-4, 6-4. And that's not really remarkable. So, but still, cool. 1973, Japanese boxer Masao Oba retained his WBA flyweight title with a 12-round knockout of Shiratori Shirinoi of Thailand in Tokyo. Oba dies 3 weeks later in a car accident. That's a little fishy. That kind of seems like a revenge killing right there for that. So, I couldn't beat him in the ring. Well, I'll beat him in the streets. I'm just speculating here, but that is a little fishy. So, 1974, the worst fire in Argentine history destroyed 1.2 million acres. Yikes. That's not good. 1974 as well. U.S. President Richard, I am not a crook, Nixon, signed a bill lowering the maximum U.S. speed limit to 55 miles per hour in order to conserve gasoline during an OPEC embargo. And let's not forget that during the 70s, we had a massive oil or gas crisis. We think that we went through something bad, a couple years ago. No. Did you ever see lines literally miles long and you're limited to 3 gallons a week? Crazy stuff. It was really tight back then. 1974 as well. We already got this fire, so we spoke about that. I don't know why that's repeating. 1975, the Federal Rules of Evidence were approved by the United States Congress. The Federal Rules of Evidence. Let's look that up here really quick. So, what were the Federal Rules of Evidence, you may ask? Well, let's see here. First adopted in 1975, the Federal Rules of Evidence codify the evidence law that applies in the United States federal courts. In addition, many states in the U.S. have either adopted the Federal Rules of Evidence with or without local variations, or have revised their own evidence rules or code to at least partially follow the federal rules. So, yeah. So, for further information, Federal Rules of Evidence. Please refer to the other bar in the description below. These links will be posted there post-live stream, as per usual, as I said at the top of the show. 1975, U.S. Department of Interior designated grizzly bear a threatened species. Alright. And we have in 1976, that's not on our main source, the gale of January 1976 began, resulting in coastal flooding around southern North Sea coast, affecting countries from Ireland to Yugoslavia and causing at least 82 deaths and 1.3 billion US dollars of value in damage at the time. Holy shiza. 1.3 billion in 1976. Well, wow, that is yeah, that's devastating. I don't even want to look up how Like, I'm not even sure if one of those value calculators can handle things in the billions. So, 1977, Major League Baseball Commissioner Bowie Kuhn suspended Atlanta Braves owner Ted Turner for 1 year due to tampering charges in Gary Matthews' free agency signing. Yikes. Ted Turner. We talked about him yesterday starting, what was it, CBS or CNN or something like that? I think it was CNN. Calling the man crazy. You can't have news all day. Well, he proved them wrong, but, he also, he's a very shrewd businessman, and, what do you do in business? You step on people's fingers and toes to climb the corporate ladder, and, that's what he did. So, yeah. Anyway, 1978, another off source here. On the orders of the President of Pakistan, Mohammed Zia-ul Haq, paramilitary forces opened fire on peaceful protesting workers in Multan, Pakistan. It is known as the 1978 massacre at Multan Colony Textile Mills. Pretty interesting that something that big would not be on, on this day.com, But once again, it's Pakistan, and source being leftist. Oh, we have to protect Pakistan. Let's not display horrible things about their history. Ah, well, you know what? Too bad I did it. 1979, Sid Vicious. Trial for murder of girlfriend Nancy Spegan began. British punk rocker Sid Vicious' trial for murder. Right there. So let me add that here. Fix that right there. So copy, and paste. So yeah, 1980, British steel workers went on a national strike. All right. 1981, one of the largest investigations by British police force ended when serial killer Peter Sculliff, the Yorkshire Ripper, was arrested in Sheffield, South Yorkshire. And that is, once again, not on our source here, our main source. So yeah, this is why, I always say, look to more than one area. Get everything you can, because there's always something you're not being told, something you haven't found, something you're not seeing, always. 1982, the epic in Miami in 85-degree heat Fahrenheit. Well, if it was Celsius, we'd be dead. The San Diego Chargers defeated the Miami Dolphins 41-38 in overtime in the AFC Divisional Playoff game, a game that set numerous playoff scoring records. Yep, the epic in Miami. 1983, Annie closed at Alvin Theater in New York City after 2,377 performances. Yeah, what theater, you may ask? Alvin! That theater. 1983, Gary Trudeau took a 20-month break from writing Doonesbury. That is a good comic. So, that was well before I was born, and I'm happy that he got back on the horse with that, because I liked that comic back in the day. Waking up in the morning, as a kid, drinking some hot chocolate while parents had their coffee. They're reading the newspaper. I get the comment section, I was a kid. I didn't give a tiddler's damn about news and all that stuff. But, I was mimicking an adult, like how kids do. I remember, when I was even younger than that, when grandparents made coffee, they made me hot chocolate and everything, and I took a sip, just like them. Kids mimic adults, and I'm no different, 1983, in a 35-2 win over the Houston Oilers, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Ken Anderson completed 20 consecutive passes and finished the season winning his second consecutive passing title with an NFL record 70.55% completion percentage. That's pretty good, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a sports guy, so yeah. Anyway, 83 as well, several African National Congress, ANC members detained in Swaziland decided to leave the country voluntarily for Mozambique. Yeah, well, you know what? They had no other choice. 1984, 16-year-old future South African Test cricket batsman Daryl Coleman scored his first-class century, 106 no, for Border against Natal B in East London. Okay? So, cricket, whatever. 84 as well, Major General Muhammadu Buhari was declared head of state in Nigeria following a military coup. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, I believe. I want that hat. Actually, if we weren't talking about that... No, we weren't. We didn't even have a show yesterday. What am I talking about? So I'm clearly talking about when we were, researching and writing and all that stuff. So, yeah, I am scatterbrained constantly. 1984 as well. Riot in Tunis killed over 300 people. Yikes. And Wilson Goods was sworn in as the Philadelphia's first black mayor. Alright, cool. I don't know why skin color matters to certain people, but I guess they can't look beyond differences. Really sad. 1985, Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak reappointed Coptic Pope Shenouda III. Coptic Pope. What is a Coptic Pope? Let's look that up here really quick. So, Ecosia. Oh, Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church. Okay, so, yeah. If you want to know more about the Coptic papacy, I'm going to add this here into the underbar. So, Coptic Pope. Let's see here. Alright. Moving on up to 86. Islanders right wing Mike Bossy scored his 499th and 500th career goals in the final 2 minute 22 seconds to lift the New York to a 7-5 victory over the Boston Bruins. He was the 11th player in NHL history to score 500 goals. But Mike Bossy, one of the names that will go down in hockey history all time. 1987, troops of Chadian President Hissène Habré conquered the Fada Oasis. Alright. And then 1 year later, a Shad oil storage tank spilled 3.8 million gallons in Pennsylvania. That's not good. Yikes. 1988 as well, Prime Minister Brian Mulroney and Ronald Reagan signed Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement. So I believe this is before NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA. But we were still, playing with our border peers. U.S. working with Canada and with Mexico, and with all that stuff. So, yeah. We also have right-wing guerrillas ambushed a train near Mozambique's western border, killing at least 22 people and injuring an additional 71. Yikes. So, yeah. And 1989, UCLA defeated Arkansas Razorbacks 17-3 to win the Cotton Bowl Classic in Dallas. Record 7th consecutive football game victory for the Bruins. Okay. But they're Boston. UCLA is University of California, Los Angeles. The Razorbacks are Arkansas. Dallas is in Texas. How the hell does Boston Bruins have a role into this? What the hell? We're talking about everybody today? What's going on? 1990, Dow Jones hit a record 2,800, which is specifically 2,810.15. Okay. And Sting joins pro wrestling's legendary Four Horsemen. Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, and Ole Anderson are the other three. So, alright. Unfortunately, Alice is not here, and she's the wrestling lady. So, yeah, she'd get a kick out of that. 1991, off source here, Sharon Pratt Dixon became the first black female mayor of a major city and the first female mayor of the District of Columbia. Alright, didn't we just talk about the first female mayor of something earlier than this? Like, on the same exact date? I'm not entirely sure. No. And then 1993, opposing factions in the Bosnian conflict held meetings with the aim of ending the 9-month conflict. Alright, always nice to talk, Like, 1994, the battles between army and rebellious Indians in South Mexico killed 57 people. Yikes. One more year later, 1995, most distant galaxy yet discovered at the time by scientists using the Keck telescope in Hawaii. It is estimated 15 billion light years away. 15 billion light years. 15 billion years for the speed of light to travel from wherever it is to our observatory. It is just insurmountable, like the distance. You can go the distance. 1996, the U.S. deployed troops in northern Bosnia with the intention of maintaining order and peace between Bosnian Serbs and Muslims. Once again, why is it any of our business? Let these people alone. Let them do things themselves. Stop aiding, certain countries, and fighting other certain countries. It's not our business. Unless, you want to admit that we are an empire, because then once you admit that, then it will be our business. Otherwise, act within the wheelhouse of your statement of what you are. 1998, autopsy of Chris Farley showed he overdosed on opioids and cocaine. Poor Chris Farley, man. A great, great man. A very funny man. And, you know, the candle that burns twice as bright, you know, lasts half as long, as they say. Rest in peace, Chris Farley. Man, now I'm sad. And moving on to 1999, a brutal snowstorm smashed into the Midwestern United States, causing 14 inches or 359 millimeters of snow in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and 19 inches or 487 millimeters in Chicago, where temperatures plunged to negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit or negative 25 Celsius, and resulting in 68 reported deaths. Probably many more unreported, like the homeless and whatnot. So, yikes. 2001, we're finally in the next millennia in our millennia. 2001, Scylla Chakaldrin became the first female governor of Puerto Rico. All right, cool. You know what? Let me give you a cheer. In 2004, Stardust successfully flew past Comet Wild 2, collecting samples that were later returned to Earth. All right, so, you know, Stardust. Literal Stardust. We're going up and harvesting. That is some Stellaris shit right there. 2011, Fella. Based on music and lyrics by Nigerian singer Fela Kuti, closed on Broadway after 463 performances and 3 Tony Awards. Hell yeah. You know, we need more representation from African nations. You know, so Nigeria. Yeah. 2014, 30 people are killed after a bus plunged off a cliff and fell 400 feet in Maleshevganj, India. That sucks. 2014 as well, Raul Castro, brother to Fidel Castro, gave a speech commemorating the 55th anniversary of the Cuban Revolution and warns of, quote, neoliberal and neocolonial thinking, end quote, entering the country. Yes. So, you know, if there's one thing communists, you know, are good at, it's hating other communists because they know how bad communists are. Yeah. 2016, Saudi Arabia executed 47 alleged terrorists, including Shia cleric Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr. That's not nice. 2017, U.S. House of Representatives voted to gut the Independent Office of Congressional Ethics. A public uproar forced them to back down the next day. Wow. U.S. House Republican. Well, I really don't think that's true. Like, I think this is more propaganda. So, like, you know, propaganda, question mark. If anybody knows more about this, like, let us know in the comments section, but this sounds like obvious, you know, crap. So, do I have any comments on Rumble yet? I do not, and there's only me watching my own Rumble, so yeah. 2018, bus crash in Pasayameo, Peru, killed 51 on the notorious Devil's Curve Road. Well, it's called that for a reason. In 2018, The Who, not the band The Who, the World Health Organization, revealed it will classify gaming addiction as a mental health condition in its next classification diseases. And I remembered there was a thing going around where video game addiction was an actual thing, and you could probably even get, like, like a welfare type of program, like disability actually is what I'm thinking about, because that is a disability, an addiction, you know, and all that stuff. And back in my old WoW days, like, you know, I did fall in that category, admittedly. I was heavily addicted. So, yeah. 2018 as well, Storm Eleanor formed near Ireland that swept across the UK and Western Europe in the next few days. So, yep, anyone who lived through Eleanor, here you go. And we also have U.S. Senator Al Franken resigned. All right. And in 2019, Apple CEO Tim Cook blamed below expectation Chinese iPhone sales for a downturn in company's outlook, rocking international stock markets. Yeah, well, you know what? If there's one thing you never do, you never blame China if you're a business guy like that. So, but hopefully the world is slowly unfucking itself. 2019, 2 women became the first to ever enter India's Sabarimala shrine in Kerala state after a law change prompting protests. So I'm all for, you know, allowing women to do, you know, same things as men do, like, you know, all that stuff. Why not? You know? And we also have U.S. International Christian Public became the most expensive American soccer Christian Pulisic became the most expensive U.S. soccer player when he moved from Borussia Dortmund to Chelsea for 57.6 million pounds, or $73 million. Remained at Dortmund on loan until the end of the season. Wow, so this poor guy was just straight up on loan. 2021, U.S. President Donald Trump said to Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, quote, "I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is more than we have," end quotes, in recording released by the Washington Post. I think this is more propaganda, trying to make him look bad. I mean, I'm no Trump supporter. I'm going to come out here. I don't support Trump. I don't support Hillary. I don't support, any of the, the bipartisan system needs to go, But, all of this, mud flacking, it's just ridiculous. Propaganda, question mark? So, yeah, and then 2023, just last year. Wow, I can't believe 2023 is last year. Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin collapsed in cardiac arrest and was revived by CPR on the field in televised NFL game against the Bengals in Cincinnati. And, there's a thing going around, that people are not allowed to talk about, a certain, thing into you involving a certain disease, causing certain horrible things, So yeah, this guy would have died if he wasn't on the field. Having this happen to him while the game was going saved his bacon. And we're going to do something new. Well, not really new, but we're bringing back something old. We're going to go through births and deaths again, but we're just going to rattle it off. So, 1642, we have Mehmed IV. 1647, Nathaniel Bacon. I'm just going to read off the whole thing. So, 1642, Mehmed IV, Turkish Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, from 1648 through 87, born in Topkapi Palace, Constantinople, died in 1693. 1647, Nathaniel Bacon, British-born U.S. colonist, leader of 1676 Bacon's Rebellion in Virginia. 1752, we have Philip Freneau, American poet of the American Revolution, The American Village. 1803, Guglielmo Libri della Samoia, Italian mathematician and book collector, stole 30,000 books. In 1822, we have Rudolf Clausius, German physicist, one of the founders of the study of thermodynamics. 1831, Justin Windsor, an American, U.S. librarian, Boston Public Library and Harvard, founder of the American Library Association and writer. 1836, Queen Emma of Hawaii, consort of King Kamehameha IV. Alice Mary Robertson in 1854, a U.S. educator, social worker, and second woman in the U.S. Congress. 1855, Frank Hollow, British tennis player, and first exponent of the lob, so lob in tennis, so yeah. 1857, Martha Carey Thomas, American educator, suffragist, linguist, and second president of Bryn Mawr College. 1861, Helen Herron Taft, American First Lady, as wife of President William Howard Taft, who also planted Washington's cherry trees. 1863, Lucia Zarat, Mexican entertainer, lightest known adult human at 2.1 kilograms at 17. 1870, we have Tex Rickard, an American boxing promoter and entrepreneur, founder of the NHL New York Rangers, builder, third incarnation of Madison Square Garden. All right. 1880, we have Louis Charles Breguet, French aviation pioneer. He founded the Compagnie de Méditerranée Aérienne, which became Air France. 1901, we have Robert Bob Marshall, an American forester, wilderness activist, and co-founder of the Wilderness Society. 1903, Kane Tanaka, Japanese centenarian, whatever. He's the world's second oldest recorded person now. 1904, Walter Hitler, German physicist, quantum field theorist, philosopher, and writer of Man and Science. Isaac Asimov, 1920, Russian scientist and sci-fi writer of I, Robot and Foundation trilogy. 1920 as well, we have Peter Harrison Swan, a English-Australian World War II bomber pilot and stockbroker. Talk about a career path, going from, bombing people to helping people with their finances. 1928, Harry Hames, an English immovable goods owner, Centerpoint. What is immovable goods? I'm not entirely sure. Let's look that up here really quick. What are immovable goods? Let's see here. Real property. Oh, okay, so real property. English common law, real property, real estate, immovable property, or solely in the U.S. and Canada, realty refers to parcels of land and any associated structures which are the property of a person. So he was a real estate guy. So, real estate. So yeah, so I'm gonna for real property, I'm gonna add this here. Real property. Wait. Please refer to the underbar of the description below. Anyway, where were we? 1930, Julius La Rosa, a American singer, fired by Arthur Godfrey on the air. So during the show, they were fired. That is embarrassing. Jim Baker, who is 85 years old today, was born on this date in 1939, a U.S. televangelist, Assemblies of God in the PTL Club, and convicted fraud. So, we all know who this guy is. Let me bring up his... Actually, you know what? I'm on burst. So let me go straight up. I'm right here. So scrolling. Where's Jim Baker? This guy right here. This, like, Jack Nicholson looking Joker MFer, with his, mouth and everything. Seriously. So... 1940, S.R.S. Varadin, an Indian U.S. mathematician. What is his actual name, though? Like, let's look that up here really quick. Because, these Indians have some, there's a lot of crazy names. So, oh my goodness, here we go. Sathamadamagam, Ranga Ayanagor, Srinivasa Varadin. Okay, so that's his actual name. 1943, Baris Manko, Turkish rock guitarist, singer-songwriter, the Kirkland Express, Arkazadam Isk, My Friend the Donkey, and television producer from 7 to 77. My Friend the Donkey, that's an interesting thing. 1952, Graham Shirley Strachan, an Australian singer, Skyhooks, Ego is Not a Dirty Word, Jukebox in Siberia, TV host of Cheryl's Neighborhood, and carpenter of Our House. Alright. 1957, Lynn Cox, a U.S. long-distance open-water swimmer known for easing Cold War tensions by swimming from the U.S. to the Soviet Union in 1987. 1960, Bernard Fowler, a U.S. session and touring rock and rhythm and blues vocalist, Rolling Stones, Tackhead, and Steven Seagal. I didn't know that was a band, or are they working with the 2-bit actor? Not sure. Gabrielle Carty, 63 years old today. He was born in 1961, a U.S. actress and she played Andrea in Beverly Hills 90210. I remember that show. 1963, we have David Cohn, a U.S. baseball pitcher. It was a perfect game in 1999. American League Cy Young Award in 1994. 5-time MLB All-Star World Series 92. Toronto Blue Jays 96, 98, 99, 2000. New York Yankees. 1964, Christopher John Gray, English Anglican priest who was murdered in front of his own vicarage. What is a vicarage? Like, let's see here. I don't even know how to pronounce these words correct, so let's look it up. Vicarage. Let's see. Vicarage of St. John's Vicarage, Cornwall. A vicarage or vicarage house is a residence provided by the church for the priest. Okay, so he was murdered in front of his own, little priest church thing. So, a vicar. If this is the right thing. Read more. Is this? Yep. Okay, so, vicarage. Link is down there for further reading if anybody would like to do so. Who else do we have? Cuba Gooding Jr., 1968, a U.S. actor, Boys in the Hood, Gladiator, As Good as It Gets, and Jerry Maguire. 1968, we have Scott Mitchell, a U.S. NFL quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, the Detroit Lions, Baltimore Ravens, and Cincinnati Bengals. 1975, Chris Chaney, Australian rockabilly guitarist, songwriter, and vocalist. Living in One Said to the Other, White Noise, The Rights, Evie, record producer and studio owner. 1977, we have Brian Boucher, American NHL hockey goaltender, 1999 to 2013, Philadelphia Flyers, Phoenix Coyotes, and 5 other teams. NHL modern record for longest shutout streak, 332 to 0.01. 2003 to 2004. 1988, Mandy Harvey, a American jazz and pop singer-songwriter, profoundly deaf since the age of 18. So we have another Beethoven here. Moving on to the deaths. 17, we have Ovid, was a Roman poet, metamorphosis. 1801, John Caspar Lavadar, Swiss writer, philosopher, and founder of physiogenomics. Physiogenomics. Let's look at that here really quick. Let's see. What is physiogenomics? Let's see here. Physiognomy or face reading is a practice of asserting a person's character or of assessing a person's character or personality from their outer appearance, especially face to face. The term can also refer to the general appearance of a person, object, or terrain without reference to its implied characteristics, as in the physiognomy of an individual plants or plant community. So, plant life form versus vegetation. So, for further reading on physiognomy, I don't know how to pronounce these things right. So, yeah, I'm going to have that down there too. Who else died on this date? James Longstreet, 1904, a U.S. Confederate general, the 1st Corps in ANV, as opposed to Jimmy Shortpath. Oh, James Longstreet versus Jimmy Shortpath. Yeah, ha ha ha. 1913, Leon Terenzin de Bort, French meteorologist, discovered the stratosphere. That's a very important discovery right there. 1923, Sam Carter, a black U.S. resident of Rosewood, Florida, lynched at the Rosewood Massacre. We spoke, as I said, about that earlier in the show. The Oka 1 century ago, the Rosewood Massacre, was a horrible thing. 1945, Bertram Home Ramsay, English naval officer, admiral who oversaw Dunkirk evacuation and Normandy landings. Wow. Fausto Coppi, 1960, Italian cyclist, Giro d'Italia, 1940, 47, 49, 52 through 53, Tour de France, 49 and 52, World Championship gold, individual pursuit, 1947, road race, 1953. 1963, Dick Powell, Richard Egwing Powell, a U.S. singer, actor, producer, and director, Cry Danger, Dick Powell Theater. Dick Powell Theater! 1968, Sanusi Payne, Indonesian writer and journalist, founded the news agency Antar. 1971, Lloyd Hall, died on this date, was a black U.S. chemist and pioneer in food chemistry, science of food preservation. 1983, Richard Dick Emery, British comedian and actor, Yellow Submarine, Loot, and Baby Love. Pilvik, 1986, a U.S. Baseball Hall of Fame executor, owner of the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Indians during the World Series of 48. 1986, Herbert Magnuson passed away on this date. He was a U.S. lyricist, winner of the first Academy Awards for Best Original Song, The Continental and Gone with the Wind, and The Masquerade is Over. Alan Hale Jr., 1990, a U.S. actor, played Skipper in Gilligan's Island. 94, Tammy Taft, Canadian businessman, coined the term hat trick. That's what I was talking about. So this guy coined the term hat trick. We were talking about the very first hat trick, so very interesting. You know what? This is really weird. This is the anniversary of the very first hat trick ever played, and this is the anniversary of the death of the person who coined the term to begin with. That is very odd. 1995, Manuel Rivera, Spanish painter and co-founder, El Paso. 97, Randy California, a U.S. rock guitarist. 2006, Cecilia Muniz Palma, first female Philippine Supreme Court Justice. 2007, A. Richard Newton, Australian-born technology pioneer and professor. 2011, Richard Winters, a U.S. Army officer and war hero, commanded Easy Company during the Normandy invasion, portrayed in The Band of Brothers. Yes, Captain Winters. Yes. Easy Company, the 101st, the Screaming Eagles, dropped into hell and came back tattered. 2016, Namir al-Namir, Saudi Shiite religious leader and non-violent critic of the Saudi Arabian government, executed by the Saudi authorities, aged 56 or 57. So, yeah, he was a non-violent critic, so they replied to him with violence. How fitting. 2018, Rick Hall, a U.S. record producer, songwriter, and creator of the Muscle Shoals Sound and Fame Studio. 2023, Fred Wright, a U.S. drummer, Earth, Wind, and Fire, 1974 through 84, and Shining Star and September. And last but not least, this time last year, we also lost Ken Block, a U.S. rally driver, Hoonigan Racing Division, and co-founder of DC Shoes. Died in a snowmobile accident at the age of 55. That is awful. And as Alice said here, it is up to you to find the artifacts of our history, but only if each individual reaches out with and for open mindfulness and a yearning to see outside of what you think you know, to grow and to find enlightenment. We have to find common ground with those who see their opinions differently from your own and find a better way to be better to one another. And that now concludes the show. Once again, please check the underbar of the description for any links you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. We're not just here on Rumble, we're not just here on YouTube, we're also on BitChute and Odyssey and a bunch of other places. So please go check out our link tree. Linktree is censoring BitChute, so that's why we have that link in the under our description section. Anyway, for your dose of Passive Events Daily, we stream almost every day at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. We have other shows here on the Omni Coalition. We also have the Omni Coalition News Show every Friday at 3. We have The Edge of Disclosure, UFOlogy, Paranormal, Conspiracy, Science, Technology, all that stuff. Saturday at 3, Kicking the Peanut. We talk about pretty much everything. Sunday at 3. And we have other shows that, are like non-live and everything. But if you're interested in watching us live, if you're on the West Coast, it's 11 to 3 all for the Mountain, 12 and 4, watch us for more. Central, 1 and 5 for the Contrive, and East, 2 and 6 for your fix. And for all of you and all of us, I am Xander. We had Noah in the show for a little while. And of course, you viewer are you. Thank you so much for lasting an hour and a half, almost, nearly, if anybody has. So yeah, for all of you, and all that, until you check us out next time, whenever that is, wherever that is. Don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Why did I hit that button? There we go. Hold on, where's my thing? Hit this button.